We did it. This is round two,
Dang it.
folks. I'm Buck Rizvi here. I'm about to bring our guest on the line. I've got him on the line right now. I was able to buttonhole him, twist his arm. I think he knows a little bit more about wrestling than me, so I don't know if I could do any of those moves. But it's good to have Russell Brunson back on at the Health Profits Academy group. We're shooting some video. It says it's shooting. Oh, now I just went live again. Okay, good. Sometimes these things go green and then
technology.
red. I know, man. So, okay, well, we're going to make this quick and to the point, and we're going to open it up for some Q&A, if you're okay with that, Russell.
Sure.
As well. Hang on 1 second. It's kind of going. Okay, it's green now. Good. I'm making a backup recording of this in case we need to rebroadcast it, which will not be a problem. Okay, so. Folks, I'm here with Russell Brunson, good friend of mine. He's invited me to more than one mastermind. He's faculty. I want to call him faculty of Health Profits Academy because he spoke at the Health Profits Summit, came in and wowed the audience. He's a best-selling author. He's a master direct response marketer. He's a coach for not just business owners, but also you do some wrestling coaching, right?
Yeah, I was wrestling growing up, and I'm coaching my kids to wrestle, so I have play a little bit in that world too.
Okay, fantastic. But we're here to talk about your new book, Expert Secrets, and you got a copy of it. And I was, entitled, I would say, in some respects, to get the word out about .com secrets, and that was really, really cool because I was a little skeptical about when people put out books. Very often the books are kind of light, they're, the term useful but incomplete. And, they teach you that in information marketing is that you shouldn't give away. I think I'm going to pick on Dan Kennedy a little bit. I think he's kind of the one that teaches a lot of that. And you're a disciple of Dan Kennedy, I know as well. Yeah. But you went the other way. You zagged when other people zigged, and you left it all on the field, if we're going to use sports metaphors. with .com secrets. So I was really impressed with what you did with that, and people could actually utilize. They had templates and processes that they could use to be successful with direct response marketing. So here's my question to you: my first question I asked last time you weren't able to answer. Why another book when you just knocked it out of the park with .com secrets?
Yeah, no, it's a cool question, and it's funny because. I know exactly what you mean. So many people I know have written books on marketing and sales, and you get the book, and I'm all excited. And I start reading. I was and so when I started writing my first book, I mean, it was probably a 10-year process where I started and I stopped. So I was I want to write something that people who are just getting started can have a really good foundation, but also if my friends read it, I want them to be impressed and not be this is a beginner or vice, things like that. And so it was really hard. And it's funny because I feel I was telling someone earlier today here in our office, I feel like .com Secrets, my first book was kind of in this business, there's the art and the science.
Yeah.
And there's the science, which is the funnel structure and how it works and all that kind of stuff. And I feel like that's what this book was really good. It's teaching here's the science of marketing in a way that is easy for me to understand. So everything's all doodled and sketched out and everything. And it was good. We launched this book. We had our software company, Clickfunnels, came out at the same time. And together those have grown really, really well. It's been really fun. We've got, I think as of today or tomorrow, we're going to pass 40,000 active members in Clickfunnels, which is super cool. And what's been interesting though,
I'm one of them. So yeah, congratulations. That's a big deal because I came from the software industry. So your accomplishment with a SaaS-based software system that people are actually using and making money from, and I admired what you had just done in bragging about, I gotta say that, about the people that have made 7 figures using ClickFunnels. That's pretty impressive, man.
Oh, it's been so cool to watch, and it's been amazing. And what's interesting, like you said, we have a club within our group now, the ClickFunnels members, called the 2 Comma Club, where if you make $1 million in a funnel, you get a big old trophy. And we had at our event, we gave away over 100 of them at our last event, which is insane because that means 100 people become millionaires through the system so far, which is. It's only been live 2.5 years, so it's really, really cool. But what was interesting, and this is why I decided to write the second book, is I was watching all these people from afar, right? I'm watching 40,000 entrepreneurs out there, and everyone's hustling. Everyone believes in their products. Everyone believes in their services. But I look, and there's a gap, right? Here's all the people that are having tons of success, and here's a lot of people that that frankly aren't. And like, what's the difference between the two? And it comes back to like the art and the science, right? Like, I feel like as a community, our people have gotten really good at like the science of it. Like, here's the structure and the layout and the pages and all that kind of stuff. But what they're not good at is the art of it. Like, how do you position your offer? How do you tell stories? How do you sell through the pages? What's the art that goes inside of these things? And the people that were killing it, people like you, they understand that like there's all this other stuff that goes into it to make it really successful.
Yep.
And so as I was looking, I'm like, okay, I need to write another book and it needs to be focused on that piece of it. And I didn't know how to like what I was going to call it or anything. And it was kind of crazy. I was actually in a meeting with a guy named Dean Graciosi. I'm sitting there talking to him about some unrelated topic, and all of a sudden, like in the middle of this conversation, I was like, I know the book. It's going to be called Expert Secrets. I bought the domain name like 6 months earlier.
Okay.
And I was like, I'm never gonna write a book again, but I need to. And then it was weird. Like everything just happened. I was like, I need to go on this journey because this is the piece I think people are missing. You understand this, like how to position your offers, how to make yourself unique, how to put yourself in a blue ocean so you're not competing with everybody else. How to not how to like do slick salesman, but how do you tell stories in a way that gets people excited about what it is you're selling, gets them to buy into it. And then, a lot of selling people talk about is like all about conversion. How do you get someone to buy once? And I don't know about you, but like get someone to buy once is cool, but I think anybody can you can trick somebody into buying once, but getting them to buy over and over and actually build a movement of people who become fans and followers, and you actually build a real tribe of people, like that's a little harder to do. When you do it, it's like it's so much more rewarding and fulfilling. And so this book kind of touches upon all of those pieces, so that when you are selling whatever it is, you understand your message and how to get it out there the right way and how to build a herd of people. And that's kind of the key with this book.
You talked about in .com Secrets about the the star, the story, the solution, kind of. So you touched on it a little bit in terms of incorporating some aspects of you and what makes you different and your story different, and implying that towards a persuasion architecture, right? But it wasn't. That was just sort of was that the precursor of what you're doing here, and now this is taking this to a whole new level of differentiating yourself as being the expert, or maybe your brand being the expert.
Yeah, 100%. It's like we touched upon .com Secrets, but then this goes like super deep. It was interesting. Because I have, especially like in your world, I've talked to a lot of people that have come from your world who are like, they want to launch supplement companies.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because there's like, in my mind, there's two ways to do it. One is like get a funnel that converts perfectly and convince someone to buy. And that kind of business is good, but it's not like, it doesn't last for a long time. And I remember when I was launching Clickfunnels, our software company, about that time I was looking at all the other software companies I was going to compete against. And I noticed like all of them were like, their software companies are kind of boring.
Yeah.
And I look at their supplement companies that are boring. It's just kind of like, oh, we sell a supplement, we sell software, whatever that is. And I remember I was actually at an event it was a network marketing company that had a software component to it. And I was in this room with like 6,000 other people. I'm sitting in the back watching, and I'm watching all these people getting on stage, talking about the product and crying and telling their stories and all this stuff. And I was like, this is really weird. And one of my buddies sitting next to me, he hit me in the shoulder. And it was Dave Fry. I think you're friends with Dave as well. He said, you notice what's happening here? And I'm like, what? He's like, they're a software company, but they've created a movement. And I was like, oh, and that was about the time I was going to Clickfunnels. And I was like, that's what I want to. I don't want to create a software company. I want to create a movement. And I look at people in the supplement space. There's some people who have built huge brands. And one guy that comes to mind really off the top of my head is Dave Asprey. Like he's got a supplement company, but it's not a supplement company. It's a brand. It's a movement. It's like there's people talking about something externally. And so as I was creating Clickfunnels, I was like, how do I create that? Because that's what I want. That's where people bond with you, and they bond with the community and the culture you're building. And so that way when competitors come and go, they're not leaving you because like they're going to bond with you and your mission and all those kind of things. And so that started this process of studying like how do companies do it? And it was fun is initially I started with companies, right? I was looking at like, okay, how did Apple do it? And how did Tesla do it? And then I started looking at other companies I know and looking at that. But then I started stepping a step back, and I was like, what about like movements like as a whole, not just business, but all kind of movements? And I started studying like what did Hitler do? And this is like the negative side of the spectrum. How did Hitler get this Nazi party, get all these people to follow him? And I started studying on the other side. You look at like Christ and Christianity, which is like, in my opinion, like the greatest movement of all time. Like, and you start looking at both of these, and then everything in between with businesses and politics and like all sorts of stuff. And I started realizing like all of these movements all had like one similar pattern. And as soon as I identified the pattern, I was like, there's three things every one of them have. Then I was like, oh my gosh, when you understand this, that became the framework for the book. And then from there, I was like, okay, now that you're aware of these three things every mass movement's had, how do you take each of those elements and how do you amplify it and turn it up? And for me, as soon as I became aware of it, then I was like also I could be creative with like, okay, well, how do I get people to do this? How do I get people to buy into this? And all sorts of things become possible when you become aware of it. And so my biggest thing with the book, when you guys read this, you'll become aware of like, wow, this is the pattern that every company that's ever had success that's built not just a transactional business, but build a movement where people are following and they're buying over and over again. They all have the same pattern. And when you understand and you see the pattern, then it's like, oh, we can replicate that. We can amplify that. There's a whole bunch of cool things you can do at that point.
So it sounds like there's a lot of responsibility that goes with using these patterns from what you just described.
Oh yeah, I had a friend that messaged me after that. He read the book and he's like, "This is really good for good people and really bad you're sharing this with evil people."
So a question about if I wanted to use this, because this came up in a coaching call actually I had today. If I wanted to use this as a company or group of people that are communicating with customers versus say an individual or disciple, if you will, that is bringing the message, is it doable as a company and a group of people doing this group effort to bond and create this expert connection and differentiation, or does it really require the leader?
That's a good question. So if you think about it, I mean, most movements have a leader that people can look at, right? You can look at Apple and you're like, Steve Jobs is the guy. You can look at Tesla, you're like, Elon Musk is the guy. You look at, you know what I mean? So there's a person. But at the same time, like, I feel like if it's just one person, like it's hard to continue to grow that brand. Like within ClickFunnels, I have become obviously that person who's kind of leading the charge. But at the same time, I'm trying to empower other people to do it. And what's cool is I look now inside the ClickFunnels world, and there are funnel gurus popping up in different industry specifics. We've got people in the fitness market who are teaching funnels to their people. We got people in all sorts of different markets. And so it's really cool because it's making it where it's kind of replicating me, because eventually, like, I don't always want to be here. I know that makes a brand really hard to sell when it's all based on a person. But initially, like, that's what gives you the initial inertia to get people engaged and get them connected with you. But then I think strategically figuring out a way, how do you get your members become those people? You know, you can think about Apple, like Steve Jobs was the guy, but eventually became like all these thousands of people who like are obsessed with it, who are passing on the message. And, you know, if you read The Tipping Point, it talks about that, like there's like the people that start this process, and there's like the ones that connect people and that share it. And so, but I think that it, you know, I mean, Bulletproof, if it didn't have Dave Asprey telling his story, it'd been hard for people to connect with this movement, right? Yeah. So I think it helps to begin with, for sure.
So I think I think that's a good point. I mean, the willingness, not everyone, I know some people say they're introverted or what have you, but the willingness to step up and be and take a leadership role, and that's what people want. You know, people want to connect with people at the end of the day. And so that I'm definitely a big believer of that. And something that we are striving to do more of in our supplement company. When I first got into dietary supplements 11 years ago, there was no face to the company. It was that sort of corporate, you know, monolith type of thing. And then now we have Real Dose Nutrition, and, you know, we have Dr. Steve, and now I'm actually going to be a more active role in putting a face to the business as well. I think that's going to be, like you said, you can have great products, you can have great customer service, and those things are vitally important. And then if you add that dimension, what you're describing here of creating the tribe and leading the tribe, that's something that no one can take away from you, right? People can't replicate easily. So if you can give people a model to follow that, wow, that's huge.
Yeah. And one thing to kind of mention too is sometimes people like that, I'm like, well, I'm not going to be that person, and it makes them fearful. But think about, like, I look at my business, I got partners, and my partners are geniuses, way smarter than me. Yeah. But like, I was the person who made sense to be that role of the person, and they're partners that make as much money as I do in the whole thing. But it's like, but they have different roles, right? So like you don't always have to be the person. I think sometimes we think we do, but like sometimes there's someone in your company, or there's a success story who becomes a face. I mean, a horrible example nowadays, but back in the day it was a good one. Is like Jared with Subway, right? Yeah. Before he, you know, now it's a really negative thing, but at the same time, like, Jared wasn't the owner of Subway. He was just a person that became that character that they used. Right. And so, like, it doesn't always have to be you. But
you know, it's interesting you mentioned that, because, you know, I from my software days, I spent a lot of time and met with the CEO, Mark Benioff of Salesforce.com. And one thing that I really admired that he had done really well is he turned his customers into the heroes. He was really good at making the customer the hero. And so, you know, that's an example of leveraging it that way. And that's another, you know, something that people can't take away from you. So, well, I know that are there frameworks? Because I haven't had a chance. I'm waiting for my physical copy, so I haven't had a chance to go through. Is it like .com Secrets in terms of you have step by step, you have frameworks, you have your lovely graphics that I love?
Everything's doodled out.
Dude, is that you doodling that, or did you hire a designer for that?
So I doodle. Actually, I can show. I was doodling today. So I doodle, and it looks like garbage, and then I send it to this dude on my team named Vlad, and he goes and makes it look awesome. So the first doodle is my draft, and he makes it look cool. Okay. But yes, this is actually the framework right here. I don't know how well you can see it.
Yeah, that's great.
Here. But this is the framework of every mass movement. So I kind of go through these real quick so you can see them. Like every mass movement, step number one is they all had some kind of charismatic leader. So we talked about that a little bit. There's somebody that people were like plugging into, right? Yep. And that was number one. Number two, what was cool is all of them had like a future-based cause. And this was a little harder to explain, but if you think about probably the easiest place to see this one identified is in politics. In the book, I went through like all the presidential elections back to George Washington here in America. And what's interesting is almost every single one of them, if you look at the campaign slogan, the slogans were people were talking about the future that candidate won. Didn't matter if they were Democrat, Republican, whatever. But if they were talking about the future, they won. If they talked about something present-based, they lost. Okay, so just last election, think about Trump. We're going to make America great again. Yeah. Hillary's slogan was, I'm with her. And she had 2 or 3 slogans, and they were all present-based. You go rewind backwards 8 years. What was Obama saying? Obama was talking about change, like a future-based thing. Right. And the people he was going against were all like present-based. And I show a whole bunch of examples in here of like future versus present.
So an aspirational goal would be a big part of this framework. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. And so like inside of our company, like we create a future-based thing. We have a big mantra inside of our world. It's called "You're one funnel away." And so like everyone's like thinking like, "Oh, I'm one funnel away." And what does that mean? Well, for everyone, it means something different. Like, what does "Make America Great Again" mean? Like, for everyone, it means something different. What does change that Obama had? Like, it means something different, but it's something that they look at and they can see it and they want that. And so they're desiring for some future-based thing. And every movement, if you look at all of them consistently, think about like every movement, business, religion, cult, whatever you want to call it, they all have that. And so what's cool is I identify that, and I show 5 or 6 ways inside of our company that we're doing that and the results from it. And then what's cool is I don't just talk about it and show what we did, but actually we have a bunch of our inner circle members who, when we had these ideas, I would think about it. I tried in our company would work. I share with them. We had like 100 people out there in tons of industries trying it, reporting back the feedback, and they're like, "Hey, in the weight loss industry, this is what happened when we did this." And over here, and like, so this book is kind of like, here's the concept, and then here's actually the practical application, what we did, and here's how other people did, and you guys can take that as a model and kind of copy it for whatever business you have.
Perfect.
And then the third step here, and this is like the least understood, like the most important, is called the new opportunity. Okay. And what's interesting is, the opposite of a new opportunity is what we call an improvement offer. We're going to help somebody become better at something or smarter. And improvement offers are the hardest thing in the world to sell, because by nature, like if you're trying to make somebody better, they have to admit that they're not very good at something. Like there's this huge internal dilemma. The other thing that's hard about improvement offers, when we're trying to make somebody improve, is like most people in this world aren't ambitious. They have desires, but if you're selling towards ambition, you're like cutting out 99% of the world's population because people aren't ambitious. And so when you're selling like an improvement offer, you're selling towards their ambitions, makes it really, really hard. Now, the opposite of that is a new opportunity, where it's like, look, the best way to explain new opportunity, I think about like when somebody comes to you in your business, they're looking for some kind of result, right? Like they want to lose weight or make money or get out of pain or whatever your product or service happens to do. And currently they're in some vehicle trying to get that result, right? In my world, people are going to school to try to make money. They're starting jobs. They're network marketing. They're in some vehicle right now. In weight loss, maybe they're in the Atkins diet. Like that's the vehicle they're trying to get the result, and they're coming to you because it's not working. So if I come to you and I'm like, hey, again, use the weight loss industry. You're in the Atkins diet. That's the vehicle you're in, and you're trying to get that result. I'm gonna help you improve that. Like I know it really sucks and it's painful and hasn't worked so far, but I'm gonna give you a couple tweaks to make this better. And if I do that, they're gonna be like, it sucks. This vehicle I'm in, I know how horrible it is. I don't like it. Right. But if I come to them, I'm like, look, this vehicle here is no good. If you step over here, here's a new vehicle. It's a new opportunity. It's a new way to get that result. You've got no experience with it before, but if you step into this is like where all your dreams are going to come true. And you present a new opportunity, then they come in there and it plays off their desires. It opens up your ability to sell to everybody and not just the 1% of ambitious people. And there's so many other cool things behind it. So, but that's the key, is like the new opportunity. And so we understand that, and this book goes deep into that. It's what makes it so that you're selling into a blue ocean where you're the only person versus selling into a red ocean where there's 100 competitors competing against you. And like when you understand this piece, that like it's like the key.
That's what we're looking for. Because I hear a lot of people. I guess maybe it's easy for me to say because I'm further along and I've been doing this for a while. Specifically, I coach people how to do dietary supplements, right, and do it right. And you've been in that industry as well. You've had experience. In fact, you coach people that are doing it very well, right? Yeah. Isn't Drew one of your students?
Yep. Yep. Drew is. It was funny. Like this is I mean, if you look at Drew,
is Drew a great example of expert secrets in play? Would you say?
So good, because if you look at like, and I
so
hope I don't offend him or Steve, but like
what we're talking about, because who Drew is and what the business is, so that they're aware.
Yeah, Drew Canoli. So Organifi, I have one here. No, Organifi is his supplement, and if you were to go drive cold traffic to Drew's funnels, guess what? It doesn't convert that well because he's not like a great copywriter, salesman, none of that stuff.
Yeah.
But their funnel last year, I don't know if I can share their numbers or not, but it did like over $20 million, that funnel. Mm-hmm. And what's interesting is because of this, like Drew's built a personality and a brand. And what's cool now is like he sold people on Organifi because like he would teach people how to juice and like building this attractive character. And like he is this leader and people have followed him. So when he came out with Organifi, it was like, oh, by the way, guys, here's this green drink powder that I make. And people went nuts, like just bought it like crazy. Didn't even have to have good copy, good sales, those kind of things weren't even relevant. It was just he built this huge following and people that loved him and respected him. And then as he's gone outward from there, it's just continued to grow and grow. Now every product he comes out with, again, he doesn't have to like spend 6 months designing an amazing funnel. He just comes out and like, hey guys, this is the next thing, and then they buy it. Same thing with Dave Asprey. Mm-hmm. Makes me laugh because I buy most of his supplements now at this point, and his sales.
Are you a bulletproof coffee guy? You got the bulletproof there?
Yeah. The sales letter is literally a picture of the bottle, a headline, and an order button. And I just buy it now because I'm like, I don't even know what it is, but he just said to buy it, so I bought it. And like the better you get at this, the less you have to worry about like the best copy and the best salesmanship and like all that kind of stuff. It's like you build a following people that trust you, and then they'll buy the things you have because they trust you and they know that you're going to not lead them astray.
So how much of this is leveraging platforms such as Facebook Live, podcasting, things like that as a communication vehicle for demonstrating your expertise?
It's a big part of it, and it's continuing to grow. As you know, like it's interesting, and I think it's great because I look back when I got started, like a decade ago now. Like I didn't have the ability to test things quickly. Mm-hmm. A good example of one of the businesses we've worked really close with is my friend Anthony D. Clementi. His company's called Biohacking Secrets, and he put out a message at first and it didn't convert. And he tried another message, didn't convert, and we're like, I don't know what to do. Yeah. So my feedback to him like, okay, do a Facebook Live every single day. And eventually the audience will tell us what they actually want. And so he's like, all right. So we started doing them. And he's a biohacking guy. So I was like, make it as weird as possible. Like put lasers in your nose, do all sorts of weird stuff. And so he's doing all these videos and like no traction, no fans, no followers, no nothing. Got zero traction. But I said, do a video a day every single day. And eventually we're going to find out what people actually care about. Yeah. So he kept doing them. And then all the weird ones I wanted him to do, he did, and nobody cared about. And they came out with this one video that was like how to biohack your vegetables. Mm-hmm. And it was him with a frying pan, like showing how you put butter on your vegetables or something. Right. And I was like, dude, that's the stupidest thing ever. Like that was a waste of a day of Facebook Lives. And but we usually boosted like $5 or $10 behind it, and all of a sudden it started working and started taking off. And that video has had 1.8 million views. It's helped him build a fan page where 50,000 people. And who knew that was the message people wanted? And I still haven't do one every single day, but it probably takes him 10 to 15 times before he gets one that hits and then that goes big. But now he knows like that's what people actually want. Right. And so it's the fastest way, I think, to be able to figure out your message and learn your voice and figure out what people actually want. Because I've seen people build huge businesses around a concept that nobody actually wants. And it's the hard way to go versus the other way is like do a Facebook Live every day for 5 minutes, and then the ones that people actually like care about and get some traction, like, okay, that's the vein I should go deeper on. So
somebody that's unwilling, I guess this is the difference maker, so to speak, that, in 21st century, now we got, Facebook video. I heard Twitter just now announced they're going to have more video capabilities. You got Snapchat, you got all these other things that people are doing. I know you've experimented with a lot of those. Have you gravitated to one platform versus the other at the moment? What are you focused on right now?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So I focus mostly on Facebook, just because as of right now.
Because you used to have 5 cameras going. I remember when you were experimenting, and you were on every platform. You were on platforms I didn't even know about.
So I was like, I was trying to find a way you could broadcast to all of them. They didn't have anything, so I had this guy with a 3D printer. And he printed out this thing, and we hooked like 5 or 6 phones. Like I
didn't know which you were like Sybil. You didn't know which camera to look into.
Yeah, I have phones everywhere.
Right.
And at first it was interesting because like Yeah, they all were different. But what we found is like Facebook for us was the easiest because they first off they're rewarding, like they want us doing Facebook Lives, and so like when you do one, they find fans for you, and then when you boost them, it helps you. They'll push it out really really far.
Okay.
Whereas the other platforms it was hard. Like it was Periscope with Twitter before, and like it worked really good for people, but like it didn't have a long tail at all.
Right.
Whereas Facebook Live is amazing. In fact, one of the examples I talk about this, I talk about some of my favorite people in our inner circle.
Okay.
Her name's Kaylin and Brandon Poland. They're in the weight loss market, and they went through this process with me as we did live. And what's cool is that I tell people in here, and I tell them like, you get your message down. They do it like every single week consistently. So they did that for a year, every week for a year, and they got to the point they built a company pretty big. And then they started transitioning. Like, let me take the same presentation and again, I actually go slide by slide through how I do a presentation in here. Like,
Nice.
It's like
okay, well, I guess we're going to get into how people can get some extras to expand their experience for Expert Secrets, right?
Yeah.
All right, but go ahead. I'm sorry I interrupted.
No worries. So they took the presentation they were doing. They learned the same process through this book, and I did a test once where I just did my same webinar presentation I did on a Facebook Live. Instead of 90 minutes, I did it in 20 minutes. Okay. My first test, we did $250,000 in sales, and I was like, holy crap! So I messaged everyone in my inner circle. I'm like, you guys, I don't know how this worked, but it worked. Everyone go do it. So they went out there and they did theirs, and they've done 3 now. The first one they did, and they're in the weight loss market. They did like $100 and something thousand and helped so many people. Then they redid it a couple months later. That one did $600,000 in a month, and then they redid it again, and the next one did $1 million in a month, and it just keeps going bigger. It's just them doing their sales presentation on Facebook Live, because as soon as you do a Facebook Live, like your audience will see it there.
Yeah.
But if you don't have an audience, it doesn't matter. Because as soon as it's done, then you can go and you can boost that out there.
Okay.
And like I said, it's built a huge company for them, and it's something that any market can do. You'll see next week I'm doing another Facebook Live webinar style because they just work so well.
So you you dial it in on Facebook Live. You may have to do it a few times, and then once you have one you feel is dialed in, you can boost that, and Facebook's really going to reward you as well. So you're going to get lower cost per view, cost per share, et cetera, all the engagement that comes from
and
that.
If you do it right, what's cool about it too is like when you're doing a Facebook Live, like I can communicate with the audience. I can be like, hey, before I get started, you guys come share this with your audience. Like if you know any friends that are struggling with this, tag them down below. And like, so you get all your audience like finding more people for you, and they get, it's so cool. And then long tail is the same thing, because then people are watching it 6 months later, and you're at the beginning telling them to share. So they keep sharing. It just keeps like, it's like this, I don't know, it's one of the coolest things ever. I don't know how long Facebook's keep rewarding us to using them, but right now they are. And so it's like I'm going to keep using it.
I get very jealous, and I actually get very angry whenever I see Drew on a Facebook Live video. Again, I know he's doing a lot of stuff on YouTube as well, but if I just see that ugly mug again on video, I'm really going to get pissed off because I see how many views he's getting and how many shares, which is incredible. So he's kind of really has it dialed in nicely. So if he's leveraging a lot of the steps that you've outlined in Expert Secrets, that's perfect. And that alone is a reason, because I know you have a lot of health folks. You mentioned weight loss. You mentioned now Drew with his supplements. You've got a lot of folks that are in health that are in your circle of trust that you coach. So you learn from them. They learn from you. This is perfect. So I'm going to go and get immediately myself Expert Secrets, because I really wanted to know whether this is going to be worth my time. Quite frankly, I love you, Russell. I just want to make sure I optimize my time. So if this was sort of an upgrade or a version 2 of .com Secrets, then I don't know if that incremental would make the difference. But it sounds like this is a really different book and a different approach.
Yeah, it's different. It's almost like, I almost feel like it's the prequel. You know what I mean? Like, it's almost like the step before that I wish I would share with everyone first. And you can ask anyone in the office here, anyone who's read it so far, who's read both of them. Everyone has told me that this one is like hands down better than .com Secrets. I think you'll feel the same way.
Okay. Cool.
It's just it goes deeper, and .com Secrets was like we're covering a lot of ground of width. This is like we're taking one core thing and just going deep, super deep, but in a way that's simple. Because I'm the same way. I geek out on stuff, I study it, but it's like it's overwhelming, a lot of it. And for me, I was like, I learned all this stuff, and I sit in front of a whiteboard. I'm like, and I try to sketch out like what does this actually mean, and I doodle it out, and I'm like, oh, that's like I think that's it. And I show everyone else like, yes, that makes sense. And then like so every concept is broken down really simple like that in a doodle, so you can use it and you can go back to it and pick up the concepts really, really quickly afterwards. Beautiful.
Well, I tell you what, I'm gonna. I know that you have a special experiential piece where for the folks that support Expert Secrets, because you're in the middle of launching the book. I think you're still in process, right? It's still going. So Thank you. I know we tried to talk last week or 10 days ago or something and get this going, but. So there's a link that I put, and it'll be below the video. It's below the video now at expertsecrets.com/buck. So if I go to that now, what is it that people will get if they go there versus what they would get, say, on Amazon.com?
Yeah, so when they go there, a couple things is Amazon doesn't ship for like 2 or 3 months, I think. I don't know how it all works, but the publisher set the ship date for like 2 months. So everyone's like yelling at me, I bought an Amazon 2 months ago. I'm like, anyway, you go there. Basically, I pre-bought a whole bunch of these because I want to get this in everybody's hands.
Okay.
So we have a warehouse full of them that are going out the door really, really quickly for everyone. But so I covered the printing costs and I shipped them to Boise. All you do is cover the shipping from Boise to wherever you're at. I think it's $7.95 in the U.S. and like, I don't know, a couple bucks more if it's international. And it's in there. And then the coolest thing, this is kind of an Easter egg. Most people don't know this, but after you buy the book, on the landing page, because if you're like me, you read it, you hear about this, and you're excited, and then like you order it and it takes like a week to get to you, and by then you've lost your excitement and your motivation. So what it is on the thank you page after you do this, there's actually a 90-minute presentation from the last Funnel Hacking Live event where I went through the first 3 chapters of this book and taught it on stage over a 90-minute period of time. And only people that got that were those who were at the live event.
Nice.
And so that's kind of a gift that you'll get just as soon as you order it. That way, like right now, you can watch it, start immersing yourself, start getting the concepts in your head spinning, and as you're waiting for the book to show up.
Oh, this is a picture of you with Tony Robbins. All this cool stuff on the landing page. So they'll get the book fast. They'll get the bonus content. Are there some downloadable PDFs as well that have the a bigger form of some of the workflows, the diagrams?
I'm trying to remember if we do or not.
Okay. I tell you what I'm going to do to make this a no-brainer. For everyone that decides to invest in Expert Secrets, and if you're in the Health Profits Academy community, based on this interview with Russell, I'm going to recommend that, like me, that you go ahead and get this. I mean, look, what are we talking about? What's the shipping and handling on this?
$7.95.
For $7.95. I mean, come on. That's like a triple latte at Starbucks. So for $7.95, pick up your copy, get the bonuses, and here's what I'm going to do. Just because I'm so pissed off at Drew Canoli, and I know that he's executing the Expert Secrets, is I'm going to dissect how Drew is applying Expert Secrets to his business, and I'm going to record it. I'm going to give that to everybody that acquires this bonus, gets this book and the bonuses. I'm going to give that to you as a special my bonus to you for being an Expert Secrets person. All right. So what
I want to see that too. I'm going to go buy through my book because I totally want that. Like that is actually super cool to see.
I'm going to break it down. I'm going to share it with my tribe because that's how much I love Drew. And so I would go to expertsecrets.com/buck. Do that right now. Some of you might be coming in, you're here live or you're coming in Memorex because I know that Facebook is kind of glitchy right now. But we'll make sure that everyone gets their copy. How soon will they get this? In less than 7 days, it says they'll get the copy.
Yeah, we're shipping pretty. I mean, we've got a whole team at the warehouse shipping like crazy, so it should be there.
Okay.
Yeah, within a week for sure.
Beautiful, and I think it's just really smart to be in Russell's sphere of influence because I really admired. I'm an owner of Clickfunnels. I'm admirer of what Russell has done with Clickfunnels and how some folks, they've launched software and then it just kind of fizzled out. But in terms of the stamina, the staying power, the capabilities, the enhancements that Russell has applied to Clickfunnels and the way that has progressed, and now he's applying basically you're watching him apply Expert Secrets to his business with Clickfunnels. So I'm really amazed at how that's worked. And now with the double comma club, that reminds me of the show Silicon Valley where they talk about the 3 comma club. So maybe you'll have some 3 comma members in there someday.
I hope so. We're working towards it.
So you'll have the 2 comma club going, which I'm super excited about. So for anyone that's putting together an information product or sales funnel or a webinar funnel or any of the things, by the way, all these can be used as front ends for dietary supplements. I know we already have people that are using podcasting, Facebook Live, etc., as a front end and a way to build trust to get people to try out their supplements. And Drew is a great example of that. So, is there anything else that I missed that you think people should know, Russell?
The biggest thing I would say is I know some people are like, well, I'm not an expert. I don't want to be an expert. I'm selling,
Yeah.
And the reality is you don't have to be the expert, but like, when you have an expert, like I talk about this, like any business you can wrap in this. I showed how I wrap my software business. We've done supplement companies, like all those things, because when you have that expertise wrapped into a business, it's amazing. I've got a chiropractor buddy who lives down here, and he's been doing this really effectively as he's been kind of going through the process with us. And he'll have people that'll drive past 20 chiropractors in Boise to get to him because of this, like because he understands these principles. And like people like I just know in my world, like who I buy supplements from, there's like 3 companies I buy supplements with, and it's because I have a connection with the attractive characters in those companies, right? I buy from Dave Asprey, I buy from Onnit because of Joe Rogan. Like I know the companies I buy my supplements from because of people that I've connected with. And so it's like, even if you don't want to do that, you don't like that, those things make you nervous, it doesn't matter. Like you wrap this around any business, and it's like, I feel like it's like a shot of adrenaline. It'll make it take off. So I don't think you have to be an expert selling expert products or info products. Like that can be part of it, but it doesn't have to be. And like I said, we're living proof. Like we have a boring software company, and principles, and we went from $0 to $10 million year 1, $10 million to $30 million year 2, and this year we're on track to do a heck of a lot more than that. And it's all about this kind of stuff. And so I think when you understand it, even if you don't want to be the expert, like understanding the principles behind it, you can wrap any business in that, and it's like a shot of adrenaline. And so anyway, I hope it helps you guys. I know that it's been huge for us, and for $795, I literally spent 18 months riding this. So like it's a lot of stuff that for really, really cheap. So hopefully you guys love it. And I'm excited to ship it out for you guys. Especially, I can't wait for you to read it, Buck.
Thanks, Russell. I really appreciate that. And, for giving people I really, truly believe that this is, call it the unfair advantage. I mean, that should have been the sub-headline of the book. The true unfair advantage to propel your business to the next level, or even if you're just starting, right? So that's, people were asking me on my coaching call this morning, what is it that I can do to be, to differentiate myself? There's formulation, there's delivery systems, there's marketing, there's this, and the expert factor. So thank you for sharing that. We'll go to expertsecrets.com/Buck, grab that, send that receipt in to me, and then I will record. So cool. Drew's gonna love this. Don't tell him. Don't tell him I'm doing this. That I'm dissecting his business and sharing all his secrets. Because I'm going to read the book and I'm going to know exactly what he's doing, and I'll provide that subtext of what's happening with Drew and Organifi, because I know he blew up that business in a big way with your help.
Yeah, it's interesting. If you watch, this is like a little hint for you guys. If you watch how Drew signs off every one of his videos, it has 100% to do with a future-based cause. Nice. He always does the same thing at the end of every single video. So there's a hint for you, and it's tied to that. Like, anyway, there's a hint.
All right, sir. Well, listen, enjoy the rest of your day. I'm glad we pulled this off. I'll get the recording out to everybody. And everyone, please go to expertsecrets.com/Buck. Check out the Expert Secrets book. Russell, thank you for your time. I appreciate it. Best of luck. I know it's going to be a bestseller. So if I could have helped a little bit to help get the word out, I'm excited to do that.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Excited for all you guys to get it.
All right. Take care. Thanks, Russell.
Thanks, man.